Okay, so the assumption is that you now have a site set up in WordPress and that you're ready to start blogging with your peers on this site. Now there's two ways, once you have your site set up, to get into it and start creating blogs and other edits. One is to go just to the generic WordPress.com, click on login, in which you'll be prompted to enter your credentials. And there's nothing wrong with working that way, but my preference is to actually go to the site itself. So enter your full URL, which, if you remember from last week, is whatever you picked here, and then they add WordPress.com to it. And then in here, what you do is when you come back and you're not logged in, especially, when you're working on the classroom computers, always log on. So when you come in, it'll look like this. You won't see the edit button down here. What you do is you just come over here to the address bar, add a /, and then admin. And that will prompt you to enter in your credentials. And remember, on the public computers, I would uncheck to stay logged in. Okay, and then it brings you in to the dashboard. So this is the behind the scenes of your website. This is where all the heavy editing goes on. I want to cover this now. I'll probably mention it at the end as well. But when you're working on these public computers, make sure that you log out. And a quick, easy way to do that is just click on this little icon here that represents you and click on sign out. Sometimes when you click on this, it'll pop up over here. It just depends on where you are in the system. And let me just say this one more time, that when I click on something, it may not always be in that same place for you. That's true because sometimes it just depends on where you are in the system, the way things show up, but also they change things a lot. Also, a third option is depending on what theme you choose, it may or may not have the same options. So, and the only way for you to really get help with that would be to show me. So you would have to, have your site up in class and say, hey, I just couldn't find the button that you said. But for the most part, you know for sure that you're going to find buttons for posts and pages and things like that. So you just kind of have to, really open your eyes up. If at first you don't find it where you want it, try it again. Try logging in the other way, where you go to the site and log in instead of the admin way, if you're really having trouble finding something or getting something done. Okay, so let's create a blog post. Now, we technically created one last time we were here. We just did that simple hello world thing, but let's do one that we can really test out the capabilities here and interact with our classmates. So over here in the dashboard, I'm going to click on post, and I can pick a sub option over here, or I can just click on it again, and it just takes me in where I can see everything that I've done. So here's the one that we did the other day. So we want to go ahead and add a new one. So again, we can click there, or from over here, and where the heck did it? Oh, now the menu has opened up here. So we would just click add new. And what happens is we end up in here. And there's two basic components to the blog. You have your title that you type in here, and then the contents of the blog that you type and possibly add things to down here. So I'm just going to put a title in here. Okay, so I just put a little note here, trying to get people in the class to respond to me. And then I added this is me, and now let's go through the process of putting an image inside of our blog. So to add an image, you just go up here to add media. And then as you can see, you can just drop a file on here, or you can search your hard drive or your flash drive for images. And I'll just use this one that I've been using here. And you can see it actually places it inside of your library, so it'll be there for future use should you need it. So what's happened is we're temporarily inside of the media library. So remember this for the future, because you can get back into here pretty easily and you can edit things. So if I want to put a caption for the image, alt text, which is a must nowadays, it basically means you're kind of insensitive if you don't, because this is for people that are experiencing the web with a reader, and a description. So go ahead, put all three of these things in here, and especially pay attention to the description and caption and see when these do and don't show up depending on how you use the image. So now that I filled those out, I'll go to the bottom here and click Insert into Post. And so that's kind of a preview of what the actual post should look like. And just note here the other options that you have, typical word processing thing, and then you have this little icon here, which gives you even more options to work with. And then over here are your options. If you're not happy with what you did, you could trash it, you could take a quick preview of it, or you can just go ahead and say, I'm going to publish this. And the beauty is that you can edit it, which we'll show here in just a second once it gets published. Okay, so to see what this looks like now, we need to get back out to the main site. So if we click over here on Preview Changes, that'll give us the best view of what the world's going to see. And really the main difference is that this edit shows up. So if you really want to see what everyone's going to see without the edit, you'll have to log out and then just go back to your regular URL of the site. Now at this stage, being logged in, editing could not be simpler, right? You just click on here, edit. And I don't know, I've been getting this a lot lately that tells me there's a more recent version, but I think that's just an error. But let's say that you're not logged in. So to mimic that, I'm going to click over here again. And remember, I told you sometimes it shows up over there. Well, there you go. Okay, so now we're signed out. Now we'll go into our site using the regular address. And this is basically what the world sees. And let's say that we're seeing this along with the world, and we realize that we have a typo in here. So super easy, just come over here, do the admin again, log in, to enter your credentials, you're back at the dashboard, and now we just want to get into the post area here, and you have these different choices. And again, a lot of times it's just easier to just click on the most generic choice and then look for what you're after. And here is my, oh, I see what's happened is, okay, so let me just make sure. I have like two of these basically. I was probably messing around in between filming, so what I want to do is find out which one is which is the one I want to keep. So I'll just click here to bring me in there, and yeah, that one looks fine. So then I can just use the back arrow key, go back, and then let me just trash this one so I only have one. Okay, so anyway, so here's where you would be at if you just hover your mouse over. You can see the different options that you have. So if you just wanted to edit it, do that, and anything that you want to edit, make your changes, and click update. That's it. So that's how you make a blog. That is how you edit a blog. So how about now, what's the process if someone sends you a message? So to figure that out, let's kill two birds with one stone. Let's first of all see what it's like for you to respond to someone. So for now, we'll pretend that we're somebody else going to your website. They see this, and they see right here, leave a comment. Now keep in mind there'll be different themes, so leave a comment might not be over here. It might be more towards the bottom. And just make sure that you're not leaving a comment on an old blog, so you just kind of have to navigate, figure out what's what, say, okay, all this belongs together right here. Leave a comment. So you're just going to go ahead and type to that person what you want to say to them. right here where it says leave a reply. Now, one thing nice about WordPress is to prevent you from getting a ton of spam via your posts. Each person is required to put in an email and a name, and they can also put in their website via WordPress as well. And then if you want to check this box, when and if that person responds back to your post, you can get comments via email. And once you have all that filled in, you post the comment, and you're hoping that people are going to be doing the same for you. So let's look into that process now. Let's pretend you're you again, and someone has responded to your blog. How does that work? So two things. One is you'll get an email through the system saying that someone has responded, and you can approve their comments or their reply right via your email, or you can just log into the system here and every now and then search for replies. So I've logged back in and I'm at my dashboard, and sure enough, under this category here of comments, there is a bright red number 1 here letting me know that there is a comment that's been applied to the site. So I go in here, I can read it, check, make sure it's nothing malicious, and if everything I see here is fine and I don't mind that appearing on my website, I can just go ahead and click approve. It is now approved, and if we go and take a view of the site, on this particular theme, the comment shows up here as one comment. Click on that and it pops open and shows you what the comment is. Now, if it were a theme that were geared towards just a blog, then what you would probably see is that comment could be much easier to get at. It would probably just appear right under the original blog, but since this theme is more designed for a web-oriented site, again, these are all these things that you'll have to experiment along the way and find out which one's best for you. And we will have more videos on choosing themes, changing themes, things like that. And then you can in turn reply to Chris Smith Studente's reply by clicking here and answering the question that he or she posed of you. And then you click post comment, and now you have multiple comments to your first blog. And last reminder here, always sign out so that no one comes behind you and makes a cruel mess of your WordPress site on a public computer. And then let's just take one last look at what this looks like to the world here. In other words, us not logged in, so they would see your blog, picture of you as part of it, blog before that one, and an indication that there's 2 comments to this blog post, one which happens to be from a classmate, and the other one is your response to their question.